You're performing. Right now, in this moment, you're calculating, measuring, adjusting yourself against an invisible standard that someone else set for you without your permission. You call it confidence when you succeed at this performance. But here's the truth you're not ready to hear. What you call confidence is just well-executed fear. You've been conditioned to believe that confidence is something you build through validation, through enough compliments, enough success, enough proof that you're worthy. So you collect evidence like a prisoner collecting scraps, hoping one day you'll have enough to finally feel free. But the cage isn't made of iron, it's made of need. And every time you look for approval, you're reinforcing the bars. Niccolo Machiavelli understood something that most people spend their entire lives running from. Power doesn't belong to those who seek permission. It belongs to those who've stopped asking. True confidence isn't a feeling you cultivate. It's a dependency you kill. And when you kill it, when you become so self-possessed that you need nothing from anyone, you don't just become confident, you become dangerous. Not because you threaten people, but because you can't be controlled. And there's nothing more terrifying to a world built on manipulation than someone who's psychologically untouchable. If you're ready to stop performing and start possessing, keep watching, because what comes next will dismantle everything you thought you knew about confidence and rebuild you into something that makes people deeply, instinctively uncomfortable. In this video, we're going to tear apart the lie you've been sold. That confidence comes from self-belief or positive thinking or any of that surface-level nonsense. We're going deeper, into the Machiavellian psychology of power, into the architecture of fearlessness, into the dark truth about why most people will never possess real confidence and why you're about to. This isn't theory. These are principles used by those who've understood that confidence isn't about how you feel. It's about what you no longer need. And when you stop needing validation, approval, or acceptance, you become something society doesn't know how to handle. By the end of this video, you'll understand why everything you've been taught about confidence has kept you weak. The exact psychological shift that separates performers from the untouchable. How to weaponize silence, stillness, and detachment to dominate any room without saying a word. And why truly confident people terrify others, and how to become one of them. But here's the catch. You have to stay until the end, because the final principle, the one that seals this transformation, is the most uncomfortable truth of all, and it's the one that will change everything. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're ready to burn the old version of yourself and rebuild from the ashes. And if you're serious about this transformation, hit that subscribe button right now. Because what I'm about to show you isn't for people who dabble. It's for people who commit, subscribe, and let's build you into something untouchable. Now let's begin. Let me tell you what confidence isn't. It isn't walking into a room with your shoulders back and your head high, pretending you belong while your heart hammers against your ribs like a prisoner begging for release. It isn't the carefully rehearsed laugh, the strategic eye contact, the performance you've perfected so well that even you've started to believe it's real. That's not confidence, that's theater, and you're exhausted from the show. You've been taught that confidence is a skill you develop, a muscle you strengthen through affirmations, through fake it till you make it, through convincing yourself you're worthy until the lie becomes truth. But here's what they never told you. Every method you've been given for building confidence is designed to keep you dependent. Dependent on external feedback. Dependent on validation. Dependent on the approval of people who are just as terrified as you are. Think about it. When you walked into that room and felt confident, what were you actually feeling? Relief. Relief that people seemed to accept you. Relief that you said the right thing, wore the right clothes, played the right role. You felt confident because you successfully predicted and met their expectations. But that's not confidence. That's obedience dressed in better lighting. Real confidence, the kind that makes people instinctively step back, that disrupts the social hierarchy just by existing, has nothing to do with what others think of you. It has everything to do with what you've stopped needing from them. Niccolo Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. But he understood something even deeper. The most powerful position is to need neither. To be so internally complete that the opinions, judgments, and reactions of others pass through you like wind through an empty room. Not because you're cold, but because you're full. Most people spend their lives as emotional beggars, going door to door, collecting scraps of validation, hoping that one day they'll have enough to feel whole. They call this building confidence, but you can't build a foundation on borrowed belief. The moment the approval stops, the structure collapses. You know this. You've felt it. That moment when someone you respect questions you, and suddenly all your confidence evaporates. That moment when you're alone and the audience disappears, and you're left with the terrifying silence of your own doubt. That moment when you realize that what you called confidence was just a favorable arrangement of external circumstances. This is the illusion, and it's kept you in chains. But here's what's about to happen. We're going to break those chains. Not by building better ones, by understanding that you never needed them in the first place. Niccolo Machiavelli spent his life studying power, not the performance of power, the possession of it. And what he discovered, what got him exiled and condemned and feared across centuries, was this. Power belongs to those who've mastered themselves, not to those who've convinced others of their worth, but to those who've stopped seeking that convincing in the first place. In The Prince, Machiavelli doesn't teach manipulation as most people think. He teaches psychological sovereignty. He teaches that the leader who needs love is vulnerable. The leader who needs fear is unstable. But the leader who needs nothing, who acts from a place of absolute internal certainty, becomes unassailable. This is the secret they don't teach you. Confidence isn't a feeling you generate, it's a need you eliminate. Think about the most confident person you've ever encountered. Not the loudest person in the room, not the performer demanding attention, the one whose presence alone shifted the atmosphere. What made them powerful wasn't what they did. It was what they didn't need to do. They didn't need to convince you. They didn't need to prove anything. They didn't need your approval, your acceptance, or your acknowledgement. And that lack of need, that absolute self-possession, is what made them terrifying. Because here's what most people don't understand. We're only comfortable around those we can control, and we control people through their needs. We manipulate through their desire for acceptance, their fear of rejection, their hunger for validation. But when someone has killed those needs inside themselves, when they've become psychologically self-sufficient, all our tools become useless. We can't leverage them, we can't manipulate them, we can't even understand them, and what we can't control, we fear. Machiavelli understood that true power is internal. It's not about dominating others, it's about being so completely dominant over your own psychology that external circumstances become irrelevant. When you achieve this, you don't need to fight for respect. You don't need to demand attention. You don't need to prove your worth. Your presence alone does all of that. But getting there requires something most people aren't willing to do. You have to kill the part of you that needs, the part that seeks, the part that reaches outward for confirmation that you're enough. You have to become your own source. This is the Machiavellian truth. Power isn't seized through aggression or strategy. It's claimed through absolute internal sovereignty. And once you claim it, once you become so self-contained that you need nothing from the external world, you stop being a participant in the social games everyone else is playing. You become the standard they measure themselves against. And that's when the real shift happens. Let's talk about what's actually happening when you lack confidence. You think it's about self-belief, but it's not. It's about psychological dependency. Specifically, It's about your nervous system being wired to seek safety through social acceptance. This isn't your fault. It's evolutionary. For hundreds of thousands of years, being rejected from the tribe meant death. Your ancestors, who didn't care about social approval, didn't survive long enough to pass on their genes. So you inherited a brain that treats social rejection like physical danger. Every time you walk into a room, your nervous system is scanning for threats. Not physical ones, social ones. It's asking, am I safe here? Do I belong? Will I be rejected? And depending on the answers it calculates, it either floods you with cortisol and adrenaline, which is anxiety, or dopamine and serotonin, which is confidence. But here's the problem. You've given that calculation over to other people. You've made your nervous system dependent on external cues to determine if you're safe. A smile makes you confident. A frown makes you anxious. A compliment elevates you. Criticism destroys you. You're not living from your own center. You're living as a reaction to everyone around you. This is the cage. And the bars are made of a simple equation. Your sense of safety equals others' approval. As long as this equation runs your nervous system, you'll never be confident. You'll only be temporarily relieved. Because confidence built on external validation is just anxiety in remission. It's always one rejection away from collapse. True confidence requires rewiring this equation entirely. It requires teaching your nervous system that your safety, your worth, your validity has nothing to do with whether other people approve of you. That you are the source of your own psychological security. That you need nothing from the external world to feel whole. This is what Machiavelli meant by internal sovereignty. It's not about being antisocial or isolated. It's about being so psychologically complete that social dynamics become interesting rather than threatening. You can engage, you can connect, you can enjoy people, but you don't need any of it to feel safe. And here's what happens when you reach this state. Your presence changes. Because when your nervous system isn't scanning for approval, when you're not calculating how to perform or what to say or how to be perceived, you become still. And that stillness, that absolute self-possession, is magnetic in a way that performance never is. People feel it immediately, not consciously, but their nervous systems recognize that you're operating from a different place than they are. You're not playing the same game. You're not seeking what everyone else is seeking. And that makes you unpredictable, ungovernable, dangerous in the most profound way. Because the only real threat in social dynamics isn't physical. It's someone who can't be controlled. Building this architecture of fearlessness requires 3 fundamental shifts. First, you stop seeking safety through approval. You teach your nervous system that you're safe regardless of how others respond to you. Second, you eliminate the gap between who you are and who you present. No more performance, no more masks, no more carefully curated versions of yourself designed to please invisible judges. Third, you cultivate such absolute comfort with yourself, with your thoughts, your flaws, your darkness, all of it, that external judgment becomes meaningless. When you've done this, you're no longer asking the room if you belong. You're deciding if the room is worth your presence. That's the shift. That's the architecture. That's what separates those who perform confidence from those who possess it. Here's the uncomfortable truth. You're addicted to validation. Not in the casual way people joke about needing likes on social media. In the way an addict needs their substance to feel normal. You've organized your entire psychology around getting approval from others, and when you don't get it, you experience withdrawal, anxiety, self-doubt, shame, depression. These aren't natural emotional states. They're withdrawal symptoms. They're what happens when your drug of choice, which is validation, gets withheld, and your nervous system panics because it's lost its primary source of safety. The path to real confidence requires you to go through withdrawal. You have to kill the need. Not gradually, not partially, completely. You have to reach a point where someone's approval of you generates exactly the same internal response as their disapproval. Nothing. Where praise and criticism pass through you with equal weight because your sense of self isn't dependent on either. This sounds cold. People hear this and think it means becoming emotionless or detached from humanity. But that's not what this is. This is about detaching your worth from others' opinions while remaining fully capable of connection, empathy, and love. The difference is need versus choice. Right now, you need approval. You need people to like you, accept you, validate you. And that need makes you controllable. It makes you perform. It makes you betray yourself in small ways every single day to avoid rejection. But when you kill that need, when you become so internally complete that you genuinely don't require anything from others to feel whole, your relationships transform. Because now you're connecting from choice, not desperation. You're giving because you want to, not because you're trying to earn something. This is the paradox. When you stop needing people, you become more capable of truly loving them. Machiavelli wrote that the lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Most people think this is about strategy. It's not. It's about psychological independence. The fox recognizes traps because it's not blinded by need. It sees clearly. The lion frightens wolves because it's so self-possessed that its mere presence is a threat. Together, they represent someone who's killed their dependency on external circumstances and rebuilt themselves from pure internal power. How do you actually do this? You start by noticing every moment you adjust yourself for others, every time you change your opinion to match the room, every time you laugh at something that isn't funny because you want to fit in, every time you hide a part of yourself because you're afraid of judgment. You notice these moments, and then you stop doing them. Not dramatically, not as rebellion, you just stop. You let the discomfort come. You let people be confused by you, disappointed in you, critical of you. And you sit in that fire until you realize it can't actually burn you. Their disapproval cannot harm you unless you give it power. And the moment you stop giving it power, the moment you let someone be angry at you, reject you, misunderstand you, and you remain completely unchanged in your sense of self, you're free. This is the death of need, and it's the birth of something far more powerful. True confidence, not the performance, not the temporary relief, the real thing, the unshakable kind that doesn't fluctuate based on circumstances because it's not built on circumstances, it's built on nothing, which means nothing can destroy it. Drop "I am enough" in the comments if you're ready to kill the need for external validation. Let me teach you the most powerful tool you'll ever possess. Silence. Not the silence of withholding or passive aggression, the silence of absolute self-possession, the silence of someone who has nothing to prove, nothing to defend, nothing to justify. Most people are terrified of silence. They fill every gap with words, with explanations, with justifications. They perform their worth through constant demonstration, constant proof, constant validation seeking disguised as conversation. But watch what happens when someone truly confident enters a room. They don't fill the space with noise. They don't rush to prove themselves. They don't perform or explain or justify. They simply exist. And that existence, that quiet, unshakable presence, dominates the room more effectively than any words could. This is the weaponization of silence. Because here's what's happening psychologically. When you're silent, when you're still, when you refuse to play the game of constant self-justification, you force others to confront themselves. Your silence becomes a mirror. And what they see in that mirror is their own anxiety, their own need for approval, their own constant performance. You're not doing anything to them. You're just not doing anything for them. And that absence, That refusal to participate in the mutual validation game everyone else is playing creates a vacuum that people find deeply unsettling. They'll try to fill it. They'll ask you questions, probe you, try to get you to perform, and every time you remain still, every time you respond with calm presence rather than eager explanation, you demonstrate a level of self-possession they don't have access to. This isn't manipulation. This is mastery. Machiavelli understood that those who speak least often hold the most power, not because they're hiding something, but because they've transcended the need to constantly demonstrate their worth. They know who they are. They don't need you to confirm it. And that knowing, that absolute certainty that exists independent of external validation, is what makes silence powerful. Think about the people who've most intimidated you in your life. Were they the loudest, the most talkative? Or were they the ones who said very little, but when they spoke, the entire room shifted? Silence forces others to come to you. When you're not seeking, not performing, not reaching outward for validation, people become curious. They want to understand you. They want your approval because you're clearly not seeking theirs. The power dynamic inverts. And you didn't have to do anything except stop doing what everyone else is doing. This is strategic on a psychological level. Most people are so busy performing that they never observe. But when you're silent, when you're still, you see everything. You see the power plays, the insecurities, the manipulations, the desperate bids for attention. You understand the room in a way that participants never can. You become the observer, and observers hold power that participants don't. But here's the crucial distinction. This silence can't be tactical. It can't be a technique you deploy to seem confident. Because people can feel that. They can feel when silence comes from insecurity disguised as confidence. True powerful silence comes from having nothing to prove. It comes from being so comfortable with who you are, with your thoughts, your presence, your worth, that you genuinely don't need to fill the air with demonstrations of it. You can sit in a room full of people, say nothing, and feel completely at peace. That's the silence that terrifies. Not because it's hostile, but because it's free. And freedom, real psychological freedom, is the rarest and most threatening thing in a world built on control through need. Here's something most people never realize. Confident people don't make others feel small. Insecure people make themselves feel small in the presence of the confident. This is the mirror principle. Your confidence doesn't threaten anyone. What threatens them is what your confidence reveals about their lack of it. When someone is truly self-possessed, when they need nothing and fear nothing, they become a mirror. And most people don't like what they see in that reflection. They see their own anxiety, their own constant need for approval, their own performance, their own imprisonment in others' opinions, and rather than confront that reality, they project it onto you. They call you arrogant, cold, intimidating, unapproachable. But these aren't descriptions of you. They're descriptions of how you make them feel about themselves. And that distinction is crucial because once you understand it, you stop taking their reactions personally. You realize their discomfort has nothing to do with you. Machiavelli wrote extensively about this phenomenon, though he framed it in terms of political power. He observed that those who possess real authority disturb others not through their actions, but through their presence. Because their presence reveals the weakness in everyone else's performance. This is why truly confident people often find themselves isolated. Not because they're antisocial, but because their self-possession makes others uncomfortable. People prefer to surround themselves with those who reflect their own insecurities back at them, who participate in the same games, who validate the same performances. Someone who's escaped that system threatens the system itself. And here's what you need to understand. This isn't something to avoid. This is the sign that you've succeeded. When people start becoming uncomfortable around you, when they can't quite explain why you bother them, when they accuse you of arrogance despite you having done nothing arrogant, that's when you know you've achieved real confidence, because you're no longer a participant in their game. You're a reminder that the game is optional. The mirror principle works in another way too. Confident people don't absorb others' emotional states. They reflect them back. When someone tries to make you anxious, you remain calm. When someone tries to anger you, you remain still. When someone seeks validation from you, you offer nothing. Not out of cruelty, but out of centeredness. And what happens? Their emotion bounces back to them, amplified. They become more anxious because your calm highlights their anxiety. They become more angry because your stillness reveals the irrationality of their anger. They seek validation harder because your refusal to give it makes them feel its absence more acutely. You're not doing this to them. You're simply not participating in the emotional manipulation they're attempting. And that non-participation is its own form of power. This is advanced psychology. The most dominant position in any interaction is to be unmoved by others' attempts to move you. Not through resistance, but through genuine indifference to their tactics. When you've reached this level, you're no longer reacting to the world. The world is reacting to you. And that shift from reactor to catalyst, from participant to observer, from someone who's moved by others to someone others move around, is what separates performed confidence from possessed power. Everything you've been so far has to die. Not metaphorically, not partially, completely. The version of you that seeks approval, that performs for invisible judges, that measures your worth against others' reactions. That version cannot coexist with the person you're becoming. This isn't an upgrade. This is a replacement. Identity reconstruction requires burning down the old structure entirely and rebuilding from nothing. Here's what has to go. The need to be liked, the need to be understood, the need to be accepted, the need to be right, the need to win, the need to be seen as good, moral, valuable, special. All of it, every single attachment you have to how others perceive you, has to be severed. This sounds extreme because it is extreme. Half measures don't work here. You can't be 80% self-possessed and 20% validation-seeking. That 20% will control you completely. It's like being 80% sober. You're not sober, you're just a functional addict. True confidence requires complete psychological sobriety. So how do you actually kill the old identity? You stop feeding it. Every time you catch yourself adjusting for others, you stop. Every time you catch yourself seeking validation, you stop. Every time you catch yourself performing, you stop. And you sit in the discomfort of being fully yourself, even when that self doesn't match what others want from you. This is where most people fail. Because the discomfort is immense, your nervous system will scream at you that you're in danger, that you're being rejected, that you're not safe. It will flood you with anxiety, shame, fear, anything to get you to return to the performance that kept you safe. But you have to let those feelings come. And you have to do nothing about them. You have to prove to your nervous system again and again and again that you can be rejected, judged, misunderstood, criticized, and still be completely okay. That your safety, your worth, your validity exists independent of others' opinions. This is the fire. This is what burns away the old identity. And what rises from those ashes is something different. Something that doesn't need external circumstances to feel whole. Something that exists in absolute self-sufficiency, drawing power not from what others give, but from what it no longer needs. Machiavelli called this virtù, not virtue in the moral sense, but excellence in the sense of complete self-mastery. The capacity to act from internal power rather than external pressure. When you've rebuilt yourself with this as your foundation, everything changes. You walk into rooms differently, you speak differently, you relate to people differently. Not because you've learned techniques or strategies, but because you've fundamentally altered what you need from the world. And when you need nothing, you can have anything. Not by taking it, but because people are naturally drawn to those who are psychologically complete. There's a gravitational pull to someone who doesn't need you, but chooses to engage with you anyway. This is the final stage, becoming so comfortable in your own skin that your presence alone is enough. No performance, no proof, no justification. Just existence at such a high level of self-possession that others can't help but feel it. Drop "I am untouchable" in the comments if you're ready to burn the old identity and become psychologically sovereign. So here's what happens when you actually do this. When you kill the need for approval, when you weaponize silence, when you become so self-possessed that you need nothing from anyone, when you reconstruct your identity around internal sovereignty rather than external validation, you terrify people. Not through aggression, not through dominance, through freedom, because you've escaped the system that keeps everyone else imprisoned. You've broken the chains that most people don't even know they're wearing, and your freedom is a threat to their confinement. They can't leverage you, they can't manipulate you, they can't control you through the usual means: approval, rejection, social pressure, fear of judgment. All the tools that work on everyone else are useless against you, and that makes you dangerous. Not to them, but to the entire structure of social control that keeps people compliant, desperate, and easily managed. You're living proof that it's possible to exist outside that system, and if you can do it, so can they, which means they have no excuse. That's what's truly terrifying. You force people to confront their own choice to remain imprisoned. Your freedom reveals their chains, and most people would rather resent you than free themselves. Machiavelli understood this. He wrote, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." Most people prefer the comfort of their chains to the responsibility of freedom, but you're not most people. Or you wouldn't have watched this far. You understand now that confidence isn't something you build. It's something you become when you've destroyed everything standing in its way. When you've killed your need for approval. When you've severed your attachment to others' opinions. When you've become so psychologically self-sufficient that you need nothing from the external world to feel complete. This is the path. And it's not easy. It's not comfortable. It requires you to sit in the fire of social rejection, to be misunderstood, to be judged, to be alone in ways that most people will never endure. But on the other side of that fire is something most people never experience. True freedom. The kind that can't be taken from you because it was never given to you. The kind that exists independent of circumstances, opinions, or validation. The kind that makes you untouchable. And when you become untouchable, when you possess this level of internal power, you don't just become confident, you become a catalyst. People feel different around you. They sense that you're operating from a different foundation. Some will be drawn to it, many will be threatened by it. Both reactions tell you the same thing: you've succeeded. You're no longer a participant in the social games everyone else is playing. You're the standard they measure themselves against. You're the mirror that reveals their own lack. You're the reminder that freedom is possible, and that's why you terrify them. Not because you're cruel or cold or aggressive, but because you're free, and freedom, real psychological freedom, is the most threatening thing in a world built on control. So here's my final question to you. Are you ready to be free? Are you ready to be misunderstood? Are you ready to terrify people simply by existing in absolute self-possession? Because once you cross this threshold, there's no going back. Once you taste real confidence, the kind built on nothing, dependent on nothing, needing nothing, you'll never be able to return to the performance. You'll never be able to unsee what you've seen. You'll never be able to unbecome what you're about to become. The old you dies here. The new you, the untouchable, the psychologically sovereign, the free, is born in the ashes. This is your moment. This is your choice. This is where everything changes. If this video shattered something inside you, if you felt the chains crack even just a little, then subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. Every video on this channel is designed to dismantle the prison you've been living in and rebuild you into something society can't control. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and join the untouchables. Your transformation starts now. Welcome to the other side.